What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Retro Hoop Collectibles. This is our weekly PSA update on their progress, on how many slabs they made, how many cards they graded, and all that good jazz. So, before we jump into everything, if you have not already, go back and check out the first episode of the update. I'll link it in the bottom. I'll link it up in the top, where I spell out and kind of go into detail on the logic and what all the numbers mean, where I'm pulling stuff from. I've had to make a couple of assumptions, and I explain all of that in the first video in depth, go through every cell and show you guys where I get all the data from. So go back and check that one out before we go to this one, because this one's just going to be more of an update. Also, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video if you end up liking it, and just kind of helps the channel out. So we're going to jump right into, as I was pulling this data, PSA recent update. PSA no longer requires submitters to decide whether to request no qualifiers, as characteristics such as centering, staining, print defects, and focus will default to impacting the numerical grade rather than carrying a qualifier. There are exceptions, and we encourage collectors to review and update the policy on PSA grading standards. So, no more qualifiers, which I think is... I never understood why they did qualifiers. I mean, I guess I can kind of understand, like, if it wasn't so off-center, this would have been a 10. So, I don't know, like 10 off-center. Like, it's a 10, except it's off-center, but then centering is part of the criteria of which your card is being graded on. So I never understood the qualifiers thing. Anyway, so you can now not decide whether or not to have no qualifiers. It's just going to go, from what I'm reading here, there's no qualifiers anymore. It's just going to go into the grade, which it should have from the beginning. So I never understood that. But anyway, they do have a PSA grading standards page that you can go and take a look at. I dabbled in it a bit, but not too much. So we'll start off, as always, with the complete through dates. Not much improvement with the exception of Express. Express made a massive jump from March 8th last week to March 23rd yesterday. This was pulled as of yesterday. Other than that, everything else pretty much stayed the same. Or very small incremental increases or decreases are pretty much staying the same. Everything pretty much stayed the same. Value, vintage, TCG stayed the same. TCG jumped up about 10 days. Looks like, yeah, about 10 days. And we'll see why here in a second. And quarterly specials are the same. Everything's pretty much the same. With the exception of the Express. So it seems like Express, they jumped up pretty good. Almost 14 days or 15 days. So anytime that the increase from week over week exceeds 7 days, that's when it's significant. That's when it matters. Otherwise, it stayed the same, right? I mean, if it doesn't change, from May 10th, from May 10th to the 17th is 8 days. Well, from May 18th to the 24th is 6 days. So it's like not that much of a difference, So that's kind of what I'm looking at whenever I'm saying nothing really changed. However, Express jumping from March 7th on the 17th to March 23rd, that's a pretty significant jump. So anyway, again, we've talked about CTDs, whether or not they mean anything or not. There's people that are seeing orders come in all out of whack. I did go to the PSA's website, and it says that if your order has payment issues or shipping issues or require special handling, whatever that means, they can be exceptions to the rules of the complete through dates. So once again, it's one of those things where it's like, here's our rule, but there are some exceptions to it, and it's not always going to be that way, or not always going to adhere to those rules or those standards. So anyway, but yeah, nothing really big here. So we'll jump right into what is really important, which is the fact that I am somewhat of a fortune teller, savant, when it comes to guessing. So last week, if you watched last week's episode when we had the huge output of 164,000, I went ahead and made a prediction that we will be somewhere around 135,000 this week, and we were right at 134,700. Now, how was I able to do that? Well, it's been kind of a pattern where they kind of coast for a couple of months at a certain level, and then they have this spike, and then the spike, it comes down from that spike, but yet it doesn't come all the way down to the previous level. There's been like a new ground floor. And I think that that's what this is. I think this is their new ground floor. This 130,000, somewhere around there, anywhere between 130 and 140,000, I think is going to be kind of their new ground floor for the next couple of weeks, which is a good thing. I mean, if we continue to see, output somewhere around here for the next 2 weeks, I think their next ceiling is probably going to be maybe as soon as the 14th. Maybe. So, as PSA hires, as PSA trains, we just, they recently announced that they're all caught up on order entry. We're still, a month away from the July 1st date that they wanted to kind of start restoring services. So I'm thinking, this month is really going to be big in terms of output for them, just in relation to the previous months. So we've been tracking this since April. So all of April, for what I tracked in the month of April, they did almost 500,000 cards. So far in May, they've already exceeded that, and we still got one more week to go. So, yeah, roughly. Something like that. Anyway, so yeah, I think this 135,000 is going to be their new floor. Between 130 and 140,000, plus or minus, 500 or 5,000. I think this is their new floor. This is their new operating output, or their new cadence in which they're going to output. And then I think somewhere around the end, either the beginning of the month or somewhere around here, we're going to see. What is this? The 6/14th. We're going to see somewhere around there, the 14th, the 21st. Yep. So right around here is when we're probably going to see the next level of what they can do, which is probably going to be around the 175, 180 mark, plus or minus 5,000 cards. But I mean, it's still a good month, better than the previous, aside from the big spike that we had last week, better than the previous, 5 months or 5 weeks that they did. Pretty good. So not bad, not so bad. If that is in fact the case, 135,000, then we're in pretty good shape for the next couple of months for them to be caught up. Not much movement in the the estimated date. It's still October. Keep in mind, when we started off this whole thing, it was Halloween, October 31st. They're now October 10th. So maybe it'll be, and that's with a 4,000 card backlog. A 6,000 card backlog still puts them at, when this whole thing started, still puts them at January. 8,000 card backlog, which is something that I just recently added, puts them right at my birthday, April 6th. And then a 10 million card backlog puts them at July of next year in order to be totally caught up. And this is an estimation based on the fact that they do not restore services at all until they're completely caught up. So, the potential for them to open up services again without being totally caught up is going to throw these numbers way out of whack. But I still think that, it's relevant somewhat to continue to look at them. As far as what categories had the biggest output this week, obviously basketball is the big one. I got to imagine that 40 to 50% of their backlog is basketball cards, at least half of it. Just because that's kind of the hot ticket. And then baseball is the second best, or the second biggest, and then after that was TCG cards. So a lot of Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, folks are submitting quite a bit of TCG cards. So, that's pretty big in terms of In terms of output, they did 51,000 cards in the month last week between the 17th and the 24th. So that's pretty big. I mean, it's quite a bit of stuff that they did. So again, hopefully we start to see this sort of progress or continuous progress. Hopefully I'm right about this ground floor again. We're probably going to see a little bit of a dip next month. I'd probably put it like at 129, maybe 100 and I'd probably say 129,000 next month is what we're really going to see. And then somewhere around there, we're going to be somewhere in this range here between 129, 135, 140,000, somewhere around there. I think that's their new floor. So we'll see. But again, this is not bad news, the fact that they dipped down. This is actually good news because they dipped down from the previous month, which was the biggest month that we've seen. However, it's still considerably higher than any of their, let's see if I average this out, it's 120,000. That's 15,000 more than they've done in the previous 5 months, the average of the previous 5 months. So we'll see. The prospects of them actually getting caught up and getting things going again, I'm assuming that they're gonna are pretty good, and I'm assuming that with this new workforce or with this new capacity that they now have to process orders and process cards, they should start seeing a little bit more. We should start seeing a lot more orders coming out. So. Do you have an order that's stuck somewhere that was not that's not out of the TCGs? That's not like what are you guys seeing? Have you gotten an order back quicker than what it says in the complete through dates? If you do or if you have, let me know. I currently have my particular order was submitted back in December on a bulk sub. December of last year on a bulk sub. So according to the complete through dates, it wasn't a quarterly special. It was probably value, but it wasn't ultra modern. Mine would have been value vintage, somewhere around there. So, I mean, it was an 86 card. So it's probably modern. What's modern? 2017 to like, I can't remember what modern is. Either way it goes, we're talking August 10th or September 22nd. So I still got August, September, October, November, December. Right? We still got 4 months before they even get to mine, which is like insane, which is going to put it at a total of like 10 months to a year that it's taken them to do my cards. I got 3 Hakeem Olajuwon rookies that we did in a bulk sub. So I mean, those things are just, I consider them long gone. So we'll see what comes back with that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for showing up every Wednesday to watch this update. I'll continue to do them as it stays relevant. There is enough movement to where I feel it's compelling enough to take a look at on a weekly basis. So I'll continue to do so. I am still working on the data for pop counts. Like I said, I'm thinking about doing that on a live stream, and there's really not thinking anymore. That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be my first live stream, so I may test out the live stream piece as I, just in order to make sure that when we do it for that particular reason, it's not the first time I'm doing a live stream. So you guys may see another live stream come out here. I was just doing some shopping earlier on eBay. Trying to pick up some boxes and stuff like that for the channel. And as I was going through, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, oh man, this would be kind of cool to just go live and then do a little bit of shopping and seeing what I can find out there and buy and stuff like that. So I may do that just in the sense of like trying out or kind of putting the live to the test run. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit your notification bells, because I'm doing this every week. We do it every week. We pull the data on Sunday or pull the data on Monday, do the video today, Tuesday, and then it goes live on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time every week. So hit your notification bells and get ready for that. We have a couple of ways that you can support the channel. I have a affiliate links for my magnifying glass that I use when I'm looking at my cards and deciding which ones to send off for grading. There's a link for that in the I got a Amazon affiliate links down below. If you use a link, it supports the channel. And then I also have an affiliate link with cardhedger.com. where I have yesterday, I think it was yesterday, day before yesterday, I canceled my subscription to Sports Card Investor, the market movers tool, just because I was paying too much, and I felt like Card Hedger was kind of giving me the same stuff. There's not as much cards on there, but the big ones are there. So, it's got a lot of stuff in there that was good enough for me, and there's a lot of SGC data on there also. So lets me keep in touch with what's going on there. So I do have an affiliate links for that as well. If you do sign up for it, please use that, and it helps the channel as well. But other than that, I think that's it. I'll leave you guys with that. And if you guys got any questions, leave them in the comments below. Y'all know I like talking to you guys in the comments and getting your feedback and all that stuff. And as always, I love y'all. Peace.